Once again, I want to welcome everybody to NOLA Theater Talk. My name is Alan Smason, and we've been having a lovely conversation with Rich Arnold of Covenant House. Now I would like to bring on the man of the hour, Brian Sands, who we've been talking about. Brian, welcome to the show. Again, we're so glad to have you and to talk a little bit about where you're coming from. Again, we're both theater critics. This is kind of where we both got to know each other and our work. And you've been working at Ambush Magazine since 1996, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct. I started doing articles for them and interviews and became theater editor with Patrick Shannon at the end of 2002. And upon his retirement in 2011, I became the sole theater critic for Ambush.
And you've been with the Big Easy Theater Committee, as I have been, for more than 20 years now, or as close to 20 years as can.
Yeah.
So and again, you and I both are the two senior members of the committee now. Many other people who have served are no longer on the committee. Unfortunately, some of them, like Al Shea, have passed, and then of course others, and Patrick, you mentioned earlier. And then, of course, others, have come on the committee and then either rotated off or just decided that they, didn't feel like they could face all of the exigencies of what was involved in going to all the different places. We see approximately 50 or 60 or more productions a year.
I say closer to 100.
Yeah. Well, you're a busy bee. You go to a lot of them. I go to as many as I can, but you actually take the extra effort to go cover the North Shore as well, which
I do, and especially because they've opened up again sooner than here in Orleans Parish. I've been going since July to theaters in Mandeville, Covington, even Ponchatoula, and there's been some really great performances up there.
And that brings up a very interesting point. A lot of people in New Orleans, they utilize Uber, or they might utilize their own private vehicles, or in many cases, they have friends who will pick them up and bring them to different places. You are the exception to that rule. You bicycle everywhere that I know of, right?
Well, I don't bicycle to the North Shore. In those
That's
cases,
what I was getting
friends. Yes. No, I depend on the kindness of friends, and they get to see some great shows, and we explore points that I would not have the opportunity to do so otherwise. And just recently saw great productions of The Glass Menagerie at Playmakers Theater in Covington and Neil Simon's Brighton Beach Memoirs at 30 by 90 in Mandeville. So it's really fun, especially when unfortunately the theaters here in Orleans Parish haven't been able to reopen again yet.
So again, we're here tonight to talk not only about your work as a theater critic, but also essentially to highlight this incredible campaign that you've been involved with Covenant House, a fundraiser that you were even actually able to do last year, pandemic and all. You were able to raise money for Covenant House. So tell me a little bit about how people can contribute to you, and how it is that you got started with this thing. Let's first off back up. When did you first get engaged with this, and how did you become associated with Covenant House as far as a fundraiser?
Well, it began in 2014 when Rich Arnold had emailed me to be on his team, I think it was, to help raise funds. And I'm like, no, I think it was he had solicited me for a donation. And I was like, well, why not I try to raise funds for Covenant House as well? Because I had done that for the No AIDS Walk over the years. And then things had changed. I was ready to support a different organization. And this was a great match. So the first year I raised about $6,000 and was the top fundraiser of all the organizations involved. And next year raised about $9,000, and it's been going up ever since then. So that in the past 7 years, I've raised over $100,000 for Covenant House, and it's such a wonderful and necessary organization here in New Orleans that I'm happy to do it.
We talked a little bit earlier with Rich about what their mission is and what they do, but they're all over the country. I mean, it's not just New Orleans. They have people who have nights out with Covenant House in New York. I know Audra McDonald spent many nights out over the last several years, trying to fundraise, as do a lot of other Broadway people. So it's not just a local effort, but the monies that you are raising are going specifically to Covenant House New Orleans, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think if you want to support me, that would be great. You can find my Facebook page, and there are links to the fundraiser. I think I can't give you the exact address, but if you just do a little Googling Brian Sands Covenant House, you should be able to find it. And I'll get you the link, Alan. Maybe you can post it as
Rich and
well.
I and you will work on that, getting all together. So tell me a little bit about what's involved. You started this up. You said around what 2013, 2014, something like that. So tell me how many miles do you actually travel? How many miles do you bicycle?
Well, that's a very good question. That's a good question, Alan. Because as you know, the Crescent City Classic is a 10K race.
Yeah.
I have no urge to run 10K. Sorry, no. I'll walk it and take my time and see friends and have a nosh along the way, and that's wonderful. But last year, when the race went virtual, I'm more of a biker, so I decided to do a loop around New Orleans. I biked from the French Quarter where I lived up to the lakefront. It was a beautiful day. Then came down Carrollton Avenue to Audubon Park and Magazine Street, proceeded back up to the quarter. And since I was still feeling invigorated, I then biked all the way out to the Chalmette battlefield and back for a total of about 30 miles. So this year I have promised that I will bike 2 miles for every $1,000 raised. So with a goal of 25,000, that's about, well, exactly 50 miles that I am looking forward to do on April 3rd.
And again, an amazing amount of effort there. Do your people pledge money based on the number of miles? Do they pledge money? In
No,
other words,
they make the donation anywhere from $5 up to $10,000.
I got you.
Most of them are in the $50 to $100 range, but no amount is too small. Every amount is greatly appreciated, and it adds up. So I'm right now up to a little over 18,000, and hoping to get to 25,000 by.
And you made what, 6,000 the first year, so you've had a steady upward slope in terms of donations.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I assume that what was your total last year that you raised?
Just over 23,000.
Okay, so that's why the 25,000 this year, every year it goes up. Well, all I can tell you is it's a wonderful, noble effort, and I know that there are a lot of people who are in the theater world who would like to support you. And again, we'll get all of that information. I will definitely have all the information as to where people can donate to you.
Thank you.
And again, Rich and I, have gone over a little bit about where the money's going to. But is there anything that you wanted to talk a little bit about as to what you were most impressed with Covenant House in terms of what their outreach is, what they're doing?
Well, I think everything about it, really, because the facility is located not far from me, and I'll bike by and I'll see some of the youth, just hanging out in the yard or playing at the basketball court. And I think how fortunate I and most of the people, all the people I know are, that they have never wound up in a situation like this. And I just think it's really important in general, and especially these days, to help those who are less fortunate than us, and especially because their youth. Covenant House comes in at a time where they can help get their lives back on track, and has been amazingly successful doing so. So I just want to do all I can to support them in their efforts.
And here you are with your bicycle in the quarter. I'm assuming that's near your front door.
That was last year, right before starting out on the big journey.
Yeah, and I know you sent another picture, which I'm sharing with Rich, that we're showing of you near Wisner,
Right.
with City Park behind you. But you again, I think are probably when I think about people bicycling, you know, you have done this and made it into a lifestyle more so than most people. And I'm always, it seems like offering, would you like a ride? You know, because I can put your bicycle in the back, and you usually say, no, I'm okay. And
And I recently discovered that I can even bike out to Rivertown and JPAS. So, you know, when the weather's nice, and you might see me just biking all the way out there.
well, now, if you go Rivertown, I mean, what would you do? River Road, or how would
Yeah,
you basically do that?
along the levee, along the levee.
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean
it's
that's a
about
long
11
way.
miles,
It's longer than the other way, isn't it? Doesn't by
I
going through the
guess.
river?
But you know what? After I started doing more bike riding than usual after everything shut down last March. So whereas last year 7 miles seemed like a long bike ride, now anything under 20 is no big deal.
Is it like safer that there are fewer cars on the street, or is it still hazardous that you have to, you know, watch out,
Well, to
be
be
wary of the
honest,
drivers?
I've never had an accident in 30 years, knock wood, knock wood. So I just am always cautious. Having grown up in New York, I try to have eyes in the back of my head on the side as well, and you know, just be very, very careful. And so far, it's worked out well.
Well, God bless you for all of your efforts, and again, you know, I know that as a fellow theater critic, I'm glad that you're doing something, you know, to sort of take up some of your time when we have fewer shows to do and
Sure.
to review. So, you know, obviously you're not idled, and you're not, you know,
Oh,
sitting
no,
around waiting for the next thing to happen.
no.
What are you looking forward to coming up in the future? Anything that you know, you're hoping to see in terms of what you're envisioning for our new normal? Do we have a shot at seeing the return of the shows that
Well,
we?
it is a little too early to say, but there's going to be I'm working on something that I think is going to be very exciting, that should be ready for a public announcement in June or July, and I hope we can chat about it further then. And that's all I can say right now.
What about the show that you had been doing with Brad Rhynes, who, of course, was from the New Orleans Advocate, now, of course, the Times Picayune / New Orleans Advocate. Are you all still doing theater podcasts of sorts?
It's kind of on hiatus for now, but we look forward to starting up again once things get going. He's more focused on productions here in Orleans Parish, just because of whatever the Times Picayune Advocate likes for him to cover. So once things start up again here, I'm sure we'll start it as well. So we're looking forward to that.
Okay, well, I'm looking, like I say, anytime I can be of any help to you with that, and I certainly would love to have maybe the two of you come on and talk about your show, and maybe help promote the, you know, the past episodes you've had. I've had pretty much, you know, a year of doing this. I took a little bit of time off this last month for some personal family issues that were going on, and also pretty much, you know, like everybody was talking about Zoom fatigue. After a year of doing it, just about 11 months or so, I was getting to the point where I needed to have a little bit of time away from it, so I wasn't constantly dealing
Yep.
with having to go on every Monday, every Friday, or whatever. So, you know, I would miss an occasional Friday or an occasional Monday if there was some conflict. You know, as an example, this last week,
Absent, Alan, absence makes the heart grow fonder. So no worries there.
well, yeah, but I mean, like last week, it was Liza Minnelli's 75th birthday celebration,
Yeah.
and it was very difficult to get away. I don't know if you got a chance to see that, but it, you know, it was quite lovely in terms of the tribute to her. I'm sorry that she couldn't make it herself, but I mean, there were some amazing people on there who were performing in some cases, but most of them just wishing Liza, you know, a very happy birthday, and reminiscing about how they got to meet her. So, you know, those sorts of things are kind of special. And I know that we're looking forward to the return of the theaters, maybe coming back at 50% capacity, maybe coming back, you know, a little bit more than that. But baby steps, it looks like, for the time being. It doesn't seem like
For
anytime
sure.
soon. You know,
For the time being, I would encourage people to check out the theaters like Seidel Little Theater, Rivertown, JPAS, 30 by 90 in Mandeville, Playmakers Theater in Covington, and Swamp Light Theater in Ponchatoula. all doing worthy work and just wonderful entertainment.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to leave you with a picture to remind you of where we were about 2 years ago, and there we were.
Oh yeah.
That was in April
Oh,
of 2019, and you were on your way, if I'm not mistaken, to see Tootsie, and I was at the front house
great.
there of the Winter Garden about to see Beetlejuice.
Yes,
And
indeed.
I turned out and I said, Brian, and you turned around. I was so amazed that there you and I are both from New Orleans, both theater critics, and both covering the Broadway arts, as it were. So
It's such a small world.
very small, and in New Orleans gets smaller all the time. Well, listen, thank you for
For
your
sure.
time, and best wishes,
Thank you.
and we'll put up all the information for everybody who's going to be supporting you with Covenant House. And again, God bless you for all the work you're doing. Take care, and we'll be right back.
Have a good weekend. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.